Wake up your morning in a brand new way with the positive people, places, events, and things in and around your neighborhood and around the world. No matter where you live, your mornings are about to get better. It's the refreshing way to start your day. No doom or gloom, just bright sunshine no matter what the weather. Metro Magazine with Bonnie McDaniel. Inspiring, informative, intelligent, ION. Positively the best way to start your morning. According to the Justice Department, 1 in 3 women are likely to be the victims of sexual assault. We have this morning joining us John R. Butler, who is the owner of Try John Fitness and Martial Arts.
Yes.
John, welcome to Metro Magazine. Took me a moment to get that out.
Hello, Bonnie. It's a pleasure being here, and I thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. And let's talk a little bit more about statistics, because I was very surprised at the numbers, especially when you look at college-age women and also professional women,
Yes.
and the likelihood of being assaulted. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, basically, Bonnie, statistics has it where 1 out of every 3 women in her life will be a victim of a sexual assault. And this is based on Department of Justice crime statistics. And in terms of college ladies, young college ladies, 1 in every 4 college girls could possibly be a victim of a sexual assault within her 4 years of college.
Wow, and that's pretty startling when you consider the fact that you're sending, those of us who are parents are sending our children off to what we hope will be a very secure and safe environment, but not with the idea of them being sexually assaulted. Now, I know that there must have been that moment, because I know that you were your bodyguard. And talk to me a little bit about your background.
Oh, absolutely. Basically, I have over 30 years of martial arts.
Okay.
I've competed throughout the 80s and the 90s.
Okay.
And as time progressed on, I knew I would no longer be in the ring or competition. I wanted to do something with the martial arts.
Okay. Why the focus on women?
Well, basically, I got tired, Bonnie, and frustrated to see on the news just about every single night where our women and our young ladies would become victims to cowards and predators who just embrace trauma. And my passion to empower women and young ladies to take charge and responsibility for their own personal safety grows deeper each time I hear of these senseless attacks.
Now, you have a daughter who
yes.
is in her 20s.
Yeah, she's in her 20s. She's 25.
And I would imagine that she's probably pretty fierce when it comes to being able to protect herself.
Yes, absolutely. I trained John A. Throughout her teenage years. And like most young ladies, they wanted to go out and do their own thing and started doing other things that she enjoyed in addition to the martial arts. But once she became more on her own, she stopped the martial arts. But I'm confident that she knows enough now to defend herself.
And I'm real excited that we're going to have an opportunity. I'm actually going to learn a couple of moves, y'all, later on in the show. So I'm real glad that you're going to be able to demonstrate some of the basic techniques that women can use just by watching this show.
Absolutely.
To be able to protect themselves. Now, at what moment, because you said you were a martial arts, you competed
Yes.
Professionally, and at some point decided that you wanted to put together a program and teach self-defense and focus on women.
Yes.
Now, your program in particular is called Stun and Run. Talk to me about that.
Sure. Stun and Run, Defense for Women in an Instant. Bonnie, I, like most people, understand that the working mothers, as perhaps even as yourself at some point, or the young college teen, doesn't have the time to dedicate, or may not have the passion that I once had to put 30 years into a martial arts studio. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to make it simple and easy for a woman or college teen to just get away. All right? Because again, she may not have the time to devote in a martial arts studio. So what we did, we put together a DVD called Stun and Run, Defense for Women in an Instant. It is exactly how it's said. It's in an instant. Now, with this DVD, Bonnie, I did not use professional martial artists and professional students. I went out, I interviewed regular models, regular people to help me with this project. because I wanted the viewers, I wanted the clients, I wanted those who would be getting the DVD to understand it's not meant to be pretty. It's not meant to be choreographed and fancy kicks and moves and things like that.
Because if someone's attacking you, there's
You don't have time for that.
choreography
You don't have
going
time
on.
for that.
Right,
we
right.
wanted strategic shock points
Right.
where they can just get away.
Okay. Now, there is a lot of mental stuff that goes on with, first of all, the person who is the attacker.
Yes.
And also the state of mind with the person who is being attacked. Talk to me about that mental state and how important it is.
Well, it's very important with the mental state. And basically, if I may touch on our workshops,
Okay.
how we prepare women. Each of our workshops, Bonnie, start with little lectures and discussions to make each woman at least think about what she could possibly be doing to be an easy target. We then provide...
But you're talking about, okay, some of the things that she might be doing that would make her
That may make her an easy
prey.
target.
Okay.
Something seemingly simple as jogging with 2 earbuds as opposed to one.
Okay, but let's go back to the mental state.
Yes.
Because a person who is of a certain mindset, I want to get into the mind of a person who is really talking about the victim mentality
Yes.
that a lot of women perhaps walk around with. And I would imagine also that in that state of mind that you kind of let someone know. It's almost like dogs. They
Yes.
know who's afraid of them.
Yes.
They know, and they will go out. They can sense. Talk to me about people who are predators. Can they sense?
Absolutely. And this is what we teach our clients in terms of the interview predator's profile. For the most part, before a predator even strikes, he or she, I mean, the predator doesn't necessarily have to be a male. And
Right.
also the predator doesn't have to necessarily be a stranger.
Right, right.
We teach that as well. But they go through what's called the interview profile.
Okay.
And for the most part, if I may use a jogging trail as an example, if a lady decides to jog on a jogging trail and that's her path or her tradition 2 or 3 days a week, before that predator strikes, Bonnie, that person takes the jogger through what's called an interview. By being on the trail, checking things out on the Monday, looking, see who actually jogs. Does this person use 2 earbuds? Is this person really engaged in what they're doing where they're not even on a swivel with their head? Are they so oblivious to society, to the environment?
Now you bring up an interesting point because I get up every 5-6 days a week and I do a walk or a run.
Yes.
And one of the things that I used to do, I used to run with with music.
Oh, really?
And I don't do that anymore.
Good,
Only
good.
because I did have an experience where I noticed, and I don't know how long this gentleman had been noticed because I had a pattern, had been paying attention to me,
Yes.
and he was slowing down as I'm going along, and I realized someone's following me.
Bonnie, that's exactly what I want to touch on, the
Yeah,
pattern.
yeah.
So what that gentleman was probably doing is taking you through what we call the interview process. The predator.
He never said anything to me.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
Okay.
He wouldn't. He just want to see just how in tune you are with what you're doing. If you have the 2 earbuds, if you're just totally focused, not paying anything in attention, the attention that's needed. To him, in his state of mind, you could be the perfect victim.
And you know, the other thing that I also did was I switched things up now. I don't
Good.
go the same way.
This is what we teach our clients to do.
Yeah, talk about that.
Absolutely. What we do, we work to deprogram the ladies from the attitude of, I live in a really safe neighborhood. This kind of thing just doesn't happen here. Or I cannot believe this could happen to me or someone I know.
Yeah.
And we work to reprogram them with, regardless, I'm not going to make myself an easy target.
Now, I want you to stop right there on that point. We're going to go to a quick break because I want to get more into the mindset and talk about some of the things that women can do to switch things up so that they
absolutely.
don't become a victim.
Yes.
We're going to come right back with Metro Magazine. Sit right where you are.
On October 23rd through the 27th, 2014, The original artwork of over 1,000 Syrian youth from the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan will be displayed on the iconic National Mall in Washington, D.C. Peace and Hope tells the story of Syrian children displaced by over 3 years of conflict that has left millions in need of life-saving aid. The 1/3 of a mile-long canvas tells a different narrative, one of resilience, determination, of hope, and of a brighter future. We need your help to share these powerful stories against the backdrop of the U.S. Capitol and the Washington Monument. Help us show the world that now is not the time to walk away from these amazing children, but rather to invest in their future. Please support this visionary project and help restore happy.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking to John R. Butler, who is the owner of a self-defense program that he's put together for women. And we were just talking about, when we went to break, we were talking about the mindset that women go through. And you're just, I guess, getting ready to touch upon how not to become a victim, if you will.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What we do, Bonnie, we work to empower women.
I like that word, empower. Okay.
Yes, we work to empower for them to take charge and responsibility for their own personal safety.
Okay. And how do you do that?
Well, basically, we teach them to recognize how predators select a victim, and mainly how to avoid becoming a victim.
So give us an example, for instance, of a woman who, a lot of women love to jog.
Yes.
What are some of the things a predator will look for in someone who's out taking a jog?
Well, what the predator will look for in their interview process is there a pattern?
Okay.
All right, one. Two, is she aware of her surroundings?
Okay.
How she's jogging? Is she texting while jogging? Which some people can do that. I can't. But is she texting while jogging? Is she answering a call while jogging?
Okay.
Is she jogging with 2 earbuds as opposed to one? Certain things that will alert the predator that, she could possibly be an easy target.
How quickly, for instance, if a young woman is out on a trail and she's jogging and she has the earbuds in and maybe she's even texting and she's not paying attention to what's going on around her, how quickly can someone?
A matter of seconds.
Okay.
It can be anywhere between 5 and 10 seconds.
Okay.
All the predator has to do is jog up behind her, jog up beside her, or even meet her on the jogging trail and immediately do an about face, turn back, and grab or snatch her. And remember, that time span is going to depend on the interview process, what he's been able to observe over the last couple of days of her pattern.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't wait for you to show me.
Yes.
What would I do if someone came up to me
Absolutely.
and I wasn't aware that they were there?
I'll give you a couple scenarios, something really quick, and again, as we call stun and run. You know, I'm not going to teach you to be a martial arts expert.
Let's talk about, I appreciate that. Let's talk about some of the other settings where women become victims.
Okay.
Let's talk about a college campus.
Oh, absolutely.
They're walking from the library, although with people not going to the library as much anymore. But they're on their way maybe from meeting some friends, they're walking back to the dorm. What's a typical setting where a young woman's accosted?
Okay, the typical setting is nighttime.
Okay.
All right. And of course, we know this day and time, the predator has become more brazen and they're attacking anytime. But mainly a pretty good setting where a predator would attack is at night. And again, the young lady could also be taken through what we call the predator's interview profile by the predator seeing how many nights is she walking from the library alone? Does she ever walk with a buddy? Is this woman constantly walking by a young girl, possibly walking by herself? And that would make her an easy target, yes.
Okay.
Just no different than a jogging trail.
Wow.
She's still being interviewed.
Let's take a young girl who is maybe in middle school, high school, and she is a latchkey kid, which a lot of children are these days.
This is true.
She's walking home alone, And
Okay.
what can she do?
If
If she notices, for instance, someone who's following her.
If she notices someone is following her, we teach our young girls to just not go home. Go
Very
to a
good.
neighbor's house. Go to someone else's house where you know. And it wouldn't even hurt to run. Run as if you're not really in tune to this predator. But again, you want to be stern. You don't want to appear meek or timid.
Okay.
And you want to just stand strong. Show that you're empowered. Show that you're not going to be a victim.
Okay.
And you run to a neighbor's house. You walk to a neighbor's house. But I would not suggest that she goes into her home
Right.
because she could be there
She
by
can be
herself.
overpowered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And you bring up another interesting point, being home alone.
Yes.
And I know that I've seen a lot in the news where people are doing, where they push their way into someone's home.
This is true.
Talk
yeah.
about what a woman can do in a
Yes.
situation like that.
Well, first of all, if there's someone at the lady's door, and if he claims to be a maintenance worker, one, you don't want to let no one in that you did not schedule an appointment with.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to use any company's names or anything like that, but if there's a company that you need to come and fix an appliance or fix your television or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure, one, you called and you made an appointment. You want to know the window, the time span, if it's 10 to 12, if it's 12 to 3. You want to know that. All right. And you want to speak to a reputable representative from that company to make sure that this person has the proper identification.
Okay.
Naming the name of the company, naming their name, okay? And you want to just make sure that you've done your due diligence before you let this person into your home.
Okay. They come into the home and you realize you are in trouble. What are some of the tips you would give a woman?
Some of the tips.
He's in the house already.
Okay.
And so the door is no longer a barrier.
Okay. Here's the most important tip to give a woman if she finds herself in the house alone with the predator and now she knows she's in danger.
Okay.
Leave as fast as you can. Get out the house. Don't be trying to figure out my next move.
Right, right.
I want you to get out of the house if you find yourself in danger.
I love, you know what, I
Yes.
love the movies where you are watching a movie and the woman comes home and the door is open and she knows she didn't leave it open.
Absolutely.
And she decides to
Goes
go in and
in.
investigate.
Yes, yes.
I mean, how crazy is
Right.
that?
And Barney, we do a lot with realtors.
Right.
And, okay. We want to also make sure as a
Oh,
realtor,
yeah.
don't show a home and you walk in first and the person behind you.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
All right. Sometimes, you know, the houses have basements. Don't go in the home, lock the door behind you with this stranger, then you just proceed to go into the home to do the showing and this person's behind you.
Wow.
Because first of all, the first defense with any form of personal safety or women's safety is what we call the 3 A's.
Okay.
Alertness, awareness, avoidance.
Okay.
Being alert and aware is your very first defense, line of defense for safety. Whether it's again, women personal safety or whether it being just any safety in general.
And you know, you
Being
bring up
aware.
an interesting point because I was watching something recently and I've also said this to young women for other situations.
Yes.
How important is that instinct or that feeling that you get in your gut that
Yes.
something is off? Talk about that a little bit.
Very important. Trust your gut feeling. Trust your instinct.
Okay.
Because 98% of the time, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right. The instinct, what we could call something, we call it the Holy Spirit or that discernment. But if it's in your stomach, trust it and move on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because here's what happens. If a person ignore that instinct, they could experience what we call the adrenal dump. Whereas they're feeling something, they're really not sure. So if something all of a sudden happens within a second, that's that adrenal dump.
Okay.
Where
And
you-
what happens to you when that?
Well, you freeze. You freeze. You
Okay.
just don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to react. And this is why it's so important to be aware, be alert, do your due diligence. understand the various, whether it be situational awareness, environmental awareness, personal awareness. And as you know, the situational awareness may be what is happening in your current state, your current situation at this time. Or the environmental awareness, what's happening in your neighborhood.
Okay.
Do you understand the statistics, the crime statistics in your neighborhood? That's what we call environmental awareness. And of course, the personal awareness is your personal space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know also that doing the unlikely, not being predictable in your movement or your response
Yes.
to certain situations. Talk about some of the other things that women can do. I mean, you're there. This person has his hands on you, and what other things can she do? I mean, is in a situation like that, is dropping to the ground or screaming or just really acting crazy?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, Bonnie, is going to depend on. I'm going to give a couple of scenarios here. All right, and it's going to depend on where you are.
Right.
So let's use the scenario of being in the mall. You're in the mall, and a predator approaches you.
In the middle of the mall?
In the middle of the mall.
Okay.
Or you're walking to your car.
Okay.
But they get up on you very close and they say, walk, do not make a sound. Here's what we tell our clients. May seem weird, but we don't care about weird because we want safety and we want you to live.
Right.
Have an epilepsy.
So you know
Fall
what?
out.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I was watching an old episode one night of Sanford and Son, and the character Lamont was going to have to fight this prize fighter, and the other character Grady said to him, Lamont, he is going to whip you, and he said, when you get in the ring with him, have a fit.
Have a fit.
And he
crazy.
did because the prize fighter didn't know what to do because here's Lamont, he's on the floor and he's having a fit, and he's thinking, you're crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are two things going to happen, Bonnie. One, you're going to get attention.
Right.
Because other shoppers are going to look around and say, what is wrong with her?
Yeah.
The second thing is going to happen, the predator is going to freak out and say, oops, I picked the wrong one.
Oh my goodness.
And the predator is going to get out of there because one, he or she doesn't want to be caught.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about with children? You bring up another interesting point where maybe they're away from their parent, and someone comes up to them and they're trying to take them away.
Here's what we tell our children.
Okay.
All right. Again, it's going to be a fit.
Okay.
If the predator grabbed their little arm, their little hand to walk with them, fall out, kick, scream, this is not my mommy, this is not my daddy, this is not my mommy, because what's happening here is if we teach them, if they say help,
right.
a lot of times, Bonnie, unfortunately, the society that we're living in, people may not come.
Yeah.
If someone say help or police, somebody calls the police. Because if you're in a mall environment, someone could assume, oh, someone must be shoplifting. You know. But if you fall out in the middle of the mall, scream, kick, this is not my mommy, this is not my daddy, help me, help me. Now people are looking, well, something has to be done here. And then chances are someone's going to come to the aid of the child.
So
and the predator's going to run too, the opposite way.
I need to practice having an epileptic fit.
Okay. And if I may also touch on this. If the predator ends up in the victim's car,
right,
wreck the car.
You know, that would be my first instinct. I'd run into something. Yeah.
Hit another car.
Yeah. No.
Attention. You want to bring attention to the situation.
Okay.
Because here's what we encourage our clients. Here's what we encourage people to not do. Go to an undisclosed location with the predator.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
Because chances are, Bonnie, they may not be seen again.
I like the idea of being disruptive.
Absolutely.
And running into another car, I mean, you may get a little banged up, but you will certainly have a better chance of saving your life. And I'm excited because we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're actually going to see John and his beautiful wife in action. And you may even get to see your friend here make a couple of moves. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in a moment. Queen Bee is a book about some of the habits, some of the things that we women do really to undermine ourselves and undermine other women. And it's something that we really can't afford to do any longer. It's actually a book that is a combination of research that I've done interviewing other women and men about what is it that has kept us over the years from becoming the empowered women that we say we are. I have taken interviews from women who talk about some of the experiences they've had in working with other women, either in the capacity of just having relationships in different types of settings, whether it be in the corporate boardroom or a lot of the women that I talk to are entrepreneurs, but really just delving into not just the things that we do in terms of day-to-day, to perform our jobs, but really looking at the things that are really holding us back. One of the things that's interesting to me is the fact that if you take a woman, an average woman, and if you're honest, and put her in a room with 15, 20 other women and have a gorgeous woman walk in the room, watch the reaction. Chances are very good she's not going to like her, and it has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that she, in their own minds, looks a certain way. If you take that and reverse it, and you are the woman who thinks that everything about yourself is intact, you're going to respond to that woman in a different way. And you're going to listen to her rather than look at her physical being. And that's what I want women to do. I want us to stop looking at what we have on, whether or not, we're thinner or heavier than the next woman, but really to look at who we are as women. If you're just joining us, you've been missing a treat. We're here with John R. Butler, and we're now being joined by his beautiful wife, Nakia, who is going to talk a little bit more about self-defense from a woman's perspective and why it's important. So, first of all, tell me, how did the two of you meet? I gotta go personal here for a minute.
Oh, sure.
Well, we met at church. So he pursued me. He was my stalker.
Okay.
And eventually I gave in. I didn't ward him off.
Okay.
Initially, I warded him off, but then I realized that he wasn't a predator.
So were you involved with the current business that you have when the two of you met?
Actually, I was doing personal protection, in the security ministry.
Body security, okay. Mm-hmm. And so the two of you met, and at what point during the relationship did you kick off the business that you're involved in now?
Well, actually, the business was going on before we met.
Okay.
I started the business in May of 2000.
Okay.
And it just escalated from there.
So did you influence her? Were you the reason why he decided to focus on women?
I'd like to think so.
Okay.
Myself and our 3 daughters, I know that he's very concerned about it, and I would, we would sit and watch the news together, and I'd pose questions to him, and he would see me get a little emotional sometimes during some of the news broadcasts that we're watching, and just, my heart would break, sometimes seeing some of the attacks of women.
Okay, and you were talking to me off camera about the idea of women being empowered by being able to defend themselves. Talk to me a little bit more about that and share that with our viewers.
Absolutely. I feel like, and this is one of the things I share with John often, I think that in our society we've become a little desensitized to the attacks against women because they happen so frequently. And it tends to have there's another attack. Oh, another woman got raped. Oh, another woman got taken on this path. Oh, another child. And so it got to me a little bit because I said people are not taking this seriously, especially the attacks in colleges, because the focus went from the attacker to the woman being attacked.
Right.
And it's like, well, it doesn't matter, that she should have been more aware, but at the same time, we should not be looking at her and victimizing her all over again. We should be looking at the predator, but now we need to say to her, you know what, since they can't do what they're supposed to do and be responsible for themselves, we're going to empower you to be responsible for your own safety.
So I guess in putting together the program and maybe some of the workshops that you all do,
Yes.
Classes that you do, you get a lot of input from Nakia in terms of
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
woman's mindset.
Yes, I would need that. That's
yeah.
important to at least, have a general idea of how women are thinking. And with Nakia being a woman, herself, and that she would give me the insight. And she would even start the workshops off.
Okay.
Because this is a strong passion of hers. So when she started the workshop off, it sets the tone.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from a woman's
Absolutely,
perspective.
yeah. Yes, you had mentioned earlier during our interview segment about how do we teach the children.
Okay.
They're in a mall setting. Some stranger or predator grabs them.
Okay.
All right, so we want to instill in the children to just drop to the floor, kick, stomp. This is not my mommy. This is not my dad.
Okay.
What's that's going to do? Two things. It's going to alert other shoppers. The second thing is going to alert the predator to get away, because this isn't a scene the predator wants to be in.
Okay.
So we're going to demonstrate this illustration right quick
Okay.
here. So we're going to, just for 1 second, Nakia,
Okay.
you're a child. Okay?
I can do that.
Okay. So you drop to the floor.
This is not my dad! This is not my dad! This is not my dad!
I'm going to leave. I don't want this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
want that.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Very easy.
Yes. Yes.
Not a lot of martial art training needed.
No
in
martial arts
this
at all.
situation. Okay.
Just be nice and loud and be crazy.
So parents, here's your first thing that you can teach your children at home. Use those vocal cords to scream and fall on the floor, because the idea is that a predator does not want resistance.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Northern Virginia last year, there was a serial groper.
Okay.
And this is something that we were watching the news, and it was just so frustrating, where it just took so long for this person to be caught.
Okay.
And the first thing I said to Nakia was, we got to do a defense technique to ward off this kind of stuff.
Okay.
So this is a defense against the groper.
Okay.
So I am going to turn this way to the camera, where the viewers can see what she does to me. Now we're going to first do this in real time.
Okay.
All right. So
Now this is his wife, so it's okay for him to touch her like this. Notice I am standing back.
am I allowed to say butt?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to grab for her butt, and she's going to turn immediately and take me down. Now what that does.
Now that's wrist action.
Wrist
So
action.
I don't want you to throw me on the floor, but show me. I want to feel what you did to his arm.
Here,
Okay. And
I would swoop around
okay. And you're grabbing, you're taking
Right
control
there.
basically.
and pushing it in the opposite
Right.
direction.
And what's happening here? She is compromising your wrist.
Okay.
We call this seize and control.
Okay.
All right. In martial arts term, all the martial artists out there, china.
Okay.
But seize and control is compromising your joint. You feel that?
I do.
It's not intended to bend that way.
Right.
So when the predator reached for her, she just turned, what we call a passing technique.
So you're turning in the opposite direction,
That's
so that
right.
you're
passing and turning and putting the seize and control on the wrist.
Okay. Good technique. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Great. Now, what I like to do is show what's called the nuisance finger.
Okay.
A lot of times people would say, why would I need a technique with the finger?
Okay.
But I want it to be really clear. Sometimes the predator isn't always the stranger.
Right.
The predator can be the acquaintance,
It could be an uncle, a cousin. Yeah.
the intimate partner. Okay? So, the nuisance finger, and we're going to do this in real time.
Okay.
All right? Where I come to her. We encourage our students to tap out.
Okay.
Because this is excruciating pain.
Okay.
Again, we call seize and control, whereas, and you can feel this if you like, Bonnie.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Would you like for me to do it on you or Nakia?
I don't know. She looks like she's fierce. Sorry. Whichever one.
I'll be gentle.
Okay.
So
you're going to point to her as if you're trying, and you're going to get a little close to her face because you want to be a threat. Like,
okay.
yeah.
All right. I don't want to hit her in the face. Okay. All right.
There you go. Easy.
Oh, and you're bending the face. Oh, that hurts.
Right. And it's just like, for an example, My finger here is the aim. So I'm going to take my finger and aim it down to your feet.
Ah, okay.
Okay?
So let me try
yes,
that. So
absolutely.
you're pointing at me. Now, how do I hold my hand?
Just like so. Watch this. Just grab it here like that.
I'll grab it like that.
Very
and
good.
then,
Point straight.
wait, when I'm pushing her wrist, I want to push her finger.
You want, there you go, just the finger. Oh, and the kids not please.
Sorry
Because
about
Bond is about to take you to your knees.
That's my right hand.
So you want to try it again?
No,
It's
okay.
okay.
So grab and push like that.
Keep going.
And the idea is to bend it back. Okay.
She's not tapping. Now,
Like that.
that's good. Now, what's happening here, where we talk about stun and run, these techniques, because we don't want to hurt each other, we want to understand the pound pressure, 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds of pressure.
Okay.
Now, if I may just use the kid as an illustration, we teach our students, our clients, the tap out method.
Okay.
Everybody tolerance to pain is different. Some people can be double jointed and go all the way back. And
But
then-
if you're doing this with a predator, you're going to bend it back and show like
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So
You're talking about training.
yes, so
Okay.
absolutely. So it's here, and we just go straight down. Now, that was only about 1 pound of pressure.
Okay.
If we executed about 3 to 4 pounds, they'll be on their knees, and the victim, you as a victim, can run.
Okay.
We don't teach our students to just stay there and admire their work.
To give them time.
No, we don't do that. This is why we call this stun and run.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And also same with the groping technique,
Okay.
where it's done in real time, and we teach this to be here and there, and it's done.
So we're done with the children part of it right now.
Yeah, we're done with the
And
children.
we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have someone else join the two people here, and they're going to show some additional techniques
Yes.
on self-defense. We'll be right back with more Metro Magazine.
On October 23rd through the 27th, 2014, the original artwork of over 1,000 Syrian youth from the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan will be displayed on the iconic National Mall in Washington, D.C.
When you're dreaming with a broken heart.
Peace and Hope tells the story of Syrian children displaced by over 3 years of conflict that has left millions in need of life-saving aid.
You roll out of bed.
The 1/3 of a mile-long canvas tells a different narrative, one of resilience, determination, of hope, and of a brighter future.
Wondering when she really here.
We need your help to share these powerful stories against the backdrop of the U.S. Capitol and the Washington Monument. Help us show the world that now is not the time to walk away from these amazing children, but rather to invest in their future. Please support this visionary project and help restore Happy.
And we're back. If you're just joining us, we've been learning some wonderful techniques for self-defense from our guest this morning, John R. Butler, and he's joined by his beautiful wife. And now Regina is on, Regina is joining us to show us some additional techniques on how you can defend yourself. So Regina, welcome. And I was told a little while ago that you had this thing called like thumb choke, yes. Thumb choke,
Yes.
and of course I became hysterical because I love the name. So you're going to demonstrate that for our viewers.
Yes, I am, Bonnie.
And I'm going to learn how to do this.
Yes.
So any of you bad boys out there that are watching, I got you.
and of course, stun and run, defensible in
Right.
an instant. We teach the thumb choke to get away in an instant.
Right.
All right. Now, what I'm going to do is simulate where Regina, for an example, is at the ATM machine.
Okay.
A lot of times, ladies, college teens, especially when I go to the ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I am simulating the predator, so I'm up on her in her private space, which I shouldn't be, but she's not aware because she's punching her numbers in. So as she turns around,
And she's gone.
then she's gone.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is show you and the viewers exactly what she did.
Okay.
All right. So, Regina, if I can see you for 1 second, have your thumb here. So, what happened was the meat part of her thumb
So
here,
this part right
this part of the thumb, you know when you give somebody a thumbs up? Yeah, you just turn it a little bit. There you
And
go.
press it.
And she pressed it right here in the center, the trachea part of my throat,
Okay.
and she pushed.
So viewers, if you want to
Yes.
see what this feels like, take your thumb and press it right here. It's actually right above that, where that chest bone begins. Right there in that little hollow. And boy, you can feel it.
Yes.
I can see why someone would be
Absolutely.
affected by this.
And now if you're in danger of your life, I talked about 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds of pressure. You give them 7 pounds of pressure and get out of there. You don't do the 1 pound or the 2 pound.
Yeah, you're not being gentle with this, by the
No,
way.
you do not know what the predator is up to. You want to shut it down and shut it down in an instant.
Now, let me ask you, because depending on the height, is there height restriction to using this technique? Because you've got a very tiny woman, a very
Right.
tall
Well, first of all, if you can do this, because
Okay.
chances are you're shorter, they're going to come down to you anyway.
Gotcha.
You follow me?
Yeah.
They're not going to attack at their level,
Right.
and you're down there. They're going
Okay.
to come to you.
Okay.
So they're doing you a favor, bringing themselves down to you.
Okay.
Would you like to try it?
Sure.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do.
I'm turning around.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We'll turn this way so the viewers can see a line this way here
This way.
as you turn.
Okay.
Okay. I'll turn you around as I turn. Ah! Wow! Oh my goodness, that's great. That's great. She's a quick learner. And again, this is why the DVD was designed for anybody to comprehend.
Okay.
Now, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
You did that really well.
Thank you.
Are you a black belt?
No, not even a white belt. I said, what's
Oh.
that? Lowest level.
Well, basically,
I'm a no belt.
no, but there you go. No belt. And she did it, and I could feel it. And that was about 1 pound of pressure. So I do appreciate you not really putting it on.
Okay.
So thank you so much for that. That was great. And that's called a thumb choke.
Okay. I like that. So I've gotten the little finger thing you can do
Deuce's
the back.
finger.
Deuce's finger and the thumb
And
choke.
a thumb choke. Absolutely.
Okay.
And we have another one where,
I'm going to let you go back over.
yeah, Regina, for an example, if I get my hands on her, where I manage to grab her here, what she's going to do is enforce my hand on her. I know this sounds crazy, where you say, well, why are you not pushing his hand away? She reinforced my hand on her.
So she's trying to keep that
Keep
hand
me there.
steady.
She's
Okay.
keeping me there,
Okay.
okay? Because she don't want to get into a tussle with me. She don't want to wrestle with me where now she's trying to get away and all this.
Okay.
Because chances are a lady or a young college lady may not actually conquer the wrestling match of a man. Most men, or most women probably can't do that. So she reinforced her hand and she's come here as hard as she can, almost to take me down. And she can do 1 or 2 things here.
Okay.
She can let go because I'm going to go down.
Okay.
Now, if you take the palm of your hand,
So it's this part of it.
right here, the
Okay.
palm of your hand, we call this the palm heel strike.
Okay.
The palm heel strike, and you do this to your chin, you can feel that. If you do it
Yeah.
hard enough, you'll see double. You can feel that.
Y'all gonna see double if you come up on me.
So what happens is, she just did enough to get away. Here, and she runs.
Okay.
Because I'm dealing with, maybe I bit my tongue
Okay.
or my lip or whatever. I'm dealing with that. Now, depending on the predator, depending on the strength of the predator, where she did here and she hit, she can come right down here on the hinge. Very good. She
Okay.
came down right here where my arm hinges
Okay.
with her weight.
Okay.
So the technique is basically here, whiplash, up and back
And
down.
depending on where you are, you can break someone's. Yeah. You can break
Yeah,
their
yeah,
arm.
absolutely, especially the way they hit the ground.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question because you say stun and run. Is
Yes.
it instinctive for people once they stun a person to want to hang around?
Well, you know,
You keep emphasizing the run.
the run.
What do you think?
I think that as a woman, we have this tendency to take someone down that's trying to hurt us, and then we kind of stare. Like, now what do I do?
Right.
So it's almost like when you teach your children, if someone touches you, push them away. It's the same thing as when you stun them, run. It's that drilling in the mind. Run, run, run. Like we teach 911. Teach stun and now run.
Yes.
Don't stay, run. Go somewhere else, get away from the situation.
Okay.
You know, you're gonna take him down? Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to hang around and assess the situation.
And sometimes
The
it
idea
can
is
be
to
the
get out
shock.
there.
The shock of everything that's going on. A lot of times we don't feel emotion until after it's over. And sometimes that shock factor kicks in and you're like, what just happened? You know, and you forget, oh, I need to get away.
That's right.
That adrenaline.
Now, I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
As far as your workshops, what do they typically run? Like half hour, a day?
Well, it all depends. It all depends what the client wants.
Okay.
If the client's, want a 2-hour workshop, we'll put a plan, an agenda proposal together for a 2-hour workshop.
Who's your typical client?
Well, realtors. We're in the process now of getting on college campuses and trying to get into the new student orientation programs.
I think that's a wonderful
yes,
idea. So
yes.
I have some things in the back of my mind
Good,
as it
good.
has to do with professional women, with having you come and
Yes,
show us.
yes. We've gone to various businesses. We've gone to various agencies within the federal government. So with us starting this program and really getting out there, being exposed, we're getting more calls now from various businesses. And like I said, realtors. We've done Century 21 as an example. We've done them a couple of times actually. And we go into day camps, summer camps, and things like that. You know, Bonnie, is another technique where I know that a lot of your viewers probably are really interested in understanding how this works. A lot of times, women, based on my experience with our workshops, they all ask that one question: what do I do if I'm in my bed sleeping and someone came into my home and I'm awakened with them on me?
Okay. And that, you're right, that happens a lot.
It's very scary.
Intruders come in.
Absolutely. And if we have the time, I can certainly show.
Why don't you, I think it's a really good thing for us to talk about.
Great.
We're talking about when women are accosted and they're actually in their homes and they're in bed. Something
Absolutely. This is from a laying position.
Okay.
All right. Now we have many strokes in the system. All right. And although this is start and run, a lot of times, again, if they're sleeping in their bed, they're going to run. But they're going to put the predator to sleep first. And then they're going to run out their home.
Okay. And you know what? I hear a lot of this in the news, where especially on college campuses,
Absolutely,
again,
yes,
where
yes.
people are coming into dorm rooms
Yes.
and they are sexually assaulting young women.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead?
Absolutely. So I'm going to simulate myself coming and maneuvering her legs apart, and she's going to immediately reach up, pull me down, and choke me out.
Okay.
All right. Now, we're doing this slow. We're simulating this slow, but this is really real time, fast time, and everything is within a second.
Okay.
All right.
So moving quickly is
very quickly,
key. Okay.
and this is why, if the ladies decide that this is the chapter they would like, on the DVD, and say, you know what, I'm going to master that chapter. All right, we go through step by step, where they're reaching my lapel or tank top, or whatever I'm wearing.
The idea is to take his clothing and use it as a weapon.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Palms up, pull me down, and use the other hand to guide my head underneath.
Okay.
And then
And again, using this part of your arm as pressure.
This is choking me.
Okay.
This is choking me on one side, and her arm is choking me on the other side.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Now, is there any other technique where she's in bed that she can use?
Absolutely. There's another one.
What if he doesn't have a shirt on?
Yeah, well, we do that. That is and I can show this from the standing position.
Okay.
That way
Yeah, why
your
don't we
viewers-
do that?
Your viewer can see it much better.
Okay.
We have what's called over the bridge, under the bridge shows.
Okay.
All right. Now, if the predator doesn't have a shirt on, you could bring this to me, reach up to me, to the predator, bring him down. See my hand here?
Okay,
Just
clasp
like
your
so.
hands together.
Right here on her carotid nerve, because you have two chokes.
Okay.
You have what's called an air choke. Then you have what's called a blood choke.
Okay.
Blood has to go to our brain.
Right. Oh, you have passed out there.
Absolutely. So if I bring her here, she tapping.
Okay.
Although she tapping this side, but I
Yeah.
still felt the tap.
Okay.
Because she is restricting the blood flow to my brain.
By the way, the tapping is not for you to do when you're being attacked. This is really what he does when he's training,
Yes.
to let the person that he's training know that too much pressure is being applied. So it's just for training purposes. There will be no tapping if you're
And all these,
Predator taps, and let them tap out.
and I definitely want to give you as a gift a copy of the DVD study room, which is on the DVD,
Okay.
along with several other chapters and
Okay,
things
wonderful,
like that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think we have a copy of it right here. And by the way, I didn't talk about my book, which
Oh, okay.
you reissued in 2010. I see you wrote
Yes,
it in 2007.
I wrote it in 2007, and I
Okay.
did a revision of it in 2010.
Okay, this is a copy of his book, and you can get this on Amazon.
Amazon.com,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, perfect. And here is the DVD
Yes.
that, talk to me about what's on here.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The DVD Stun and Run, Defense for Women in an Instant. What we did, we took several scenarios that women face on a daily basis.
Okay.
And we learned these scenarios from the workshops we've done.
Okay.
We asked women questions. We interviewed the women. And they said, okay, I'm at the ATM machine quite a bit. What do I do if? Or, you know, my daughter texts at the bus stop. She catches the bus, always try to ask her not to be texting. We have a scene for texting, defense against texting.
I love it.
Yes. And then what we did earlier from the laying position, someone, comes into your bedroom or your sofa, or even knocks the victim to the ground from outside, from the outdoor position.
Okay.
And then we have here teenage abduction.
Okay.
The young lady's coming home from school. She's abducted, and we teach us what to do to get away from the predator.
Okay, so how many different, it looks like 3, 6, 9?
Yeah, we have about 9 scenarios, and we have the basic facts just to teach a lady how to hold the fist, how to do various stands, interview, what we call the interview position, back off, I don't want any trouble. Now from this interview position, you're leverage here, you're leveraging yourself, whereas if I'm just here, I can be easily pushed off balance, But
You just brought up an interesting point.
yes,
You just said back off.
yes.
How effective is a woman's voice in putting a person?
Very effective.
Okay.
Her tone, her pitch. As a matter of fact, I can actually here to demonstrate that in terms of the back off.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's in my opinion, I think
Yes,
it might be an effective.
absolutely. You mind holding this one,
Sure.
please? Okay. If I am the predator, and she senses that I could possibly be a threat. So if I approach her, first of all, if she's just smiling me, on a cell phone or texting or whatever the case may be, it's easier to approach.
Okay.
So, if she's alert, aware of her surroundings, and I approach her in a threatful way or a threatening way, we're just not teaching our clients to just go to people and say, hey, back off! No. But again, if I am a visible threat where I could harm her and I approach her, she's going to say, back off. Okay, so that was the interview stance right there.
Okay.
And from the interview stance, she's going to say back off at the same time.
Okay.
Back off.
Stern.
Okay.
Now what that does is, if she's just standing here like so, and I push her, it's easy to get off balance.
Right.
But if she goes into the interview stance,
She's standing.
she's
control.
has more leverage. Absolutely.
Okay.
And more empowered to, I am controlling my own space here. I'm controlling my destiny.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
What's the perimeter that a person should look at?
In their private space?
Yes.
From the inside, from the inside, from your fingers to here. This is her private space.
Okay.
From here to there.
Okay. So young ladies, use your, whatever is it, giving someone a hand.
That's
Use
right.
that as
your space.
exactly.
No stranger belong here.
Right.
This is a threat
Okay.
or could pose a threat.
Okay.
But if the stranger's here, she's not just going to stay there. She's going to maneuver in terms of getting out of the way. She's going to get out of that particular environment she's in. She's not going to just be there and wait for the stranger to come.
Okay.
We don't teach that. Because we want to avoid as much as possible.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hold on one second. How much time do we have
I'm trying to get this
to wrap up? Okay. So say that last sentence again.
I'm trying to think, what did I say?
You were saying, you were talking about
to avoid.
Okay.
having people come into your space.
Absolutely. First of all, we want our clients to understand to avoid.
Okay.
And that was a part of the 3 A's, awareness, awareness, avoidance.
Excellent.
And being aware and alert will potentially avoid various situations.
Okay.
So, to avoid, she see me as being deemed a threat. She's not going to just wait for me to come and approach her.
Right.
Chances are she's going to just leave the area. She's going to leave where she is. Now, I do believe, Bonnie, that there are great programs out here. All right, the White House initiative back in January, the 2 senators who's doing excellent in terms of bringing
Who
awareness.
are those senators, by the way?
Bringing awareness on college campuses, Senator McCaskill from Missouri
Mm-hmm.
and Senator Gillibrand from New York.
Okay.
They are doing excellent in bringing awareness on college campuses, holding colleges responsible, you know, in terms of reporting. And I just like to, this time if I may, just give them big kudos for the job they're doing and what the White House
And
is
you know
doing.
what? And that is part of what we've hired them to do. They
Yes.
should all be on board with making
Yes.
sure that our women are taken
Yeah.
care of. And you know what? This has been, time went by way too fast.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there are people in our communities who are doing things, who are making a stand. We have the Full Circle Martial Arts Academy here in the Maryland area. We have Kung Fu Academy and Learning Center in Waldorf. There are people who are bringing awareness to women's safety, and I just want to just give the highest kudos to those various people. Because we all can do our part at our levels.
Exactly.
Whether you're a senator, whether you're the president, whether you're just a
I
martial
community
arts.
leader.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
I definitely plan to put my little mind at work to figure out how we can have you become engaged in some of the programs that we're doing for women,
Thank you.
both here and other areas around the country.
Thank you.
If you would take a moment and tell people how to get in touch with you, we're going to have to close because we are at the end of this interview. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So why don't you just look at that camera and, the camera right here. and tell
Okay.
people how to get in touch with you.
All right. You can get in touch with me at www.stunandrundefenseforwomen.com. So 4 is the number 4.
Okay.
www.stunandrundefenseforwomen.com.
And we'll also have this on our website, and we've really had a great time with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank you.
show.
Thank you
And
for having
really,
us.
I think talking to people about something that's very, very important. And if you are a company out there who would like to reach out to them again, you can visit on our website or visit them at their website to get in touch. It's been a great morning, and I hope you guys are empowered. And I look forward to seeing you here next week, same time, and you make sure you have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon.